Hello, buddy.
Hi there. Happy Father's Day to everyone here. If you're a father.
All right. Yes, happy Father's Day, everybody. Well, first off, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Sunday, June the 15th, 2025. Of course, this is our weekly look back at comics that went on that, it's our weekly trip down comics history lane. This week we'll be, of course, be continuing our look through comics that went on sale in May of 1940. Um, this week we'll be focusing in on comics that went on sale from standard. At the time, they were known as Better Books. They're also known among the other names the company went by include Standard, Nador, and Pines. This week we'll be focusing in specifically on the first issue of Startling Comics and its big feature hero, Captain Future.
Mm.
But before we do get into all that, um, I'm going to hand it off to my co-host for a moment, um,
Hello. Yes.
and let him introduce himself and promote anything he wants, share any links. I think you know the shtick, right? Apex,
Sure.
go for it.
Hello, Brett Cantrell, also known as Apex Comics. I have a crowdfunding project, FemBat Volume 1 on Fund My Comics, and it's there for another 40 plus days. So go ahead and check it out. I'll put the link in the chat. Or actually, I'll put in the private chat, then you'll throw it in. Uh, Give me a moment.
You'll put it in the private chat so I can go
Yeah.
dig it and get it and then share it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I was like, I noticed yesterday because I was noticing because I was trying to see if you were going to have your, Apex Hex or Rex
No.
Hex and Apex show
No.
yesterday, and I noticed you didn't. In
It's
fact,
next.
you got have you guys been doing that of late, or because I know
We're
you do it
doing it
like
every. We changed it. It's every month now, not every other week.
okay.
So it'd be once per month. That way I have time to get some guests on, if possible, and go from there.
All right, well,
Uh, Here it is. Bang.
all right, I'll go grab it then and then
Yeah.
post it for you. So I take it now your whatever computer issues you were having, you've
No,
been able to.
I still have issues. Haven't gotten it fixed yet. I can only get like one page at a time. I can't do multiple tabs. I gotta go to the shop. I haven't had a chance to get there. So hopefully this week I will go down, get that taken care of, and fix my windows. Hopefully it's not as bad as I think it is.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about this after the show,
Yeah.
scheduling wise here for us because I've got a bit of an issue,
Hmm.
um, and I've been trying to resolve it other ways, but I'll talk to you more about it after the show.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so there's a link to Fembat, you know, Brett, Apex's comic here. If you guys want to go check that out, of course, and also a friendly reminder to everybody, if you guys can, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, or we will. I'm sorry, we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. All right. Even my head's a little off, But of course, for the being summer, the heat can do things to you.
Hmm.
uh, anyways, So is there anything more you want to promote?
Nope.
Because I know you have a
Oh,
channel.
subscribe to my channel, Apex Comics on YouTube. There you go. Yeah.
All right. So, do you feel like reading tonight, or do you just want to do commentary?
I'll read.
All right.
Good.
Okay. So before
I
we
could,
actually get into the actual reading side of it, of course, since we are doing a new comic, as it were, new characters, let's introduce everybody to the big guy we're going to be looking at, which is Nador's version of Captain Future.
mm.
And of course, an Apex. Can you explain to everybody why I say Nador's version of Captain Future?
It's a different publisher, right?
Well, yeah, because as I recall, there's at least two, maybe three different companies that have actually published Captain Future at differing. In fact, I think even Marvel may have did a version. I think
I
from
didn't know that. Mm.
I'm not completely sure, but I know that there's been at least a couple of versions. And don't I but the one we're going to focus in on tonight, of course, is Nador's version. I think, as I said, there's been two or three versions of him. So
Mm.
of Cap. Um,
Captain Future.
yeah. All right. We'll read off a little bit of the intro here, and then we will do just a little quickie on some of this stuff.
Mm.
I usually won't read the character bio here because it's almost redundant. Because
Yeah.
nine times out of ten, the origin story is the first story they give you. So,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be kind of redundant to read the same thing twice. Um,
Mm.
Captain Future. Okay, so Captain Future, Nador Comics. Captain Future is a fictional superhero character, not to be confused with the pulp magazine character of the same name, who first appeared in Startling Comics, cover date June 1940 from Nador Comics. Of course, publisher Nador Comics. First appearance, so we'll go through the box here real quick. First appearance, Startling Comics #1, June 1940. In story information, alter ego Andrew Bryant. Abilities: flight, super strength, and ability to hurl energy bolts from his hands.
Mm.
Sounds like a lot of heroes. It sounds like Black Vulcan, among others. A flight and super strength. Well, we know a few heroes of this time, quite a few who had those powers, right?
Right.
So, all right. So we'll go through the publishing history, then we'll go right into the readings here. Shift over. So the publishing history. Captain Future appeared in issues 1 through 40 of Startling Comics, and issues 1 through 5, 1 through 3, 5, and 22, June 1947, of America's Best Comics. After that, the character fell into the public domain. In 2003, he appeared in AC Comics Sentinels of America #1, along with Black Terror, Miss Mask, Fighting Yank, and the Scarab. In 2004, he appeared in Terra Obscura, Volume 2. Now, mind you, as we know, a number of these public domain characters have come back. We
Yeah.
know like quite a few from like Centaur publications that came back. Can't even remember the name of the company, but they were pretty known for picking up a lot of the like Centaur comics,
Mm-hmm.
some of the other quality comic characters as well.
Right.
So in 2008, Captain Future appeared in flashbacks in Dynamite Entertainment's miniseries Project Superpowers. In the one-shot Project Superpowers Chapter 2 Prelude, it was stated that he would appear in future issues in this line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely sure if that did in fact happen or not, but anyways, so that's the basic information on that. So now, why don't we go ahead and get to to the reading. Get ready for the readings here.
Mm.
And all right, so Startling Comics, and of course they did have a couple other books come out this month too, like exciting comics, and thrilling comics.
Yeah.
But since this is the first issue here, I wanted to focus in on this book today.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you know, one of the tricky things sometimes about doing a show like this, right? These retrospective shows. At times, it's even with my memory and all that, and with my mental abilities and all that, right?
Yeah. Right.
It is hard. It is hard to keep track of all the character, except for the real well-known ones like DC and Marvel.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really hard to keep track of a lot of the big name characters from each comic, especially when you start getting down into the more obscure, lesser known comics like like in Standard or Street Smith or what have you. So it can okay.
And so many of them.
Yeah, I mean,
I can try
would overload anybody.
Try to throw things at the wall and see what will stick. See what will gem up enough interest in these characters that the people may like.
Actually, with what I was referring to earlier, when I was talking to you about before, you may already know because I think you were on. I think you were in the chat the other day when I popped in on Rex's Rex's
stream.
Yeah. When Doc. So you probably already know what I'm going to probably talk to you about after the show.
That's fine.
Yeah. So, anyways, so featuring Captain Future, Man of Tomorrow, Startling Comics. Cash prizes given 10 cents, number 1. Look at that.
Why do these guys always have to wear shorts? Maybe it's the time period or something.
Or maybe, because these guys, what do you think one of the common factors of what do you think one of the common factors with most of these superheroes is that would maybe make them wearing shorts like that?
I guess it's hot outside, maneuverability.
Well, that's one part of it, but
yeah.
What about, let's see, when it comes to physical fitness?
Yeah, they have to work out the legs.
What type do you are most heroes like gym rats, or are they big blobs?
Well, they better be gym rats. They better be in shape. Be saved by a blob. That'd be crazy. They would smell. Be like stinky. Like, go to the gym and work out or something. You can't.
In other words,
human body over your head.
You don't see too many heroes that look like Magneto's Brotherhood's blob character, right?
Right. No, thank goodness.
So maybe except in the world of woke, but that's another story for another day.
It's a positive body image. Is that what they say? Yeah.
But look at this. Look at what they not only a good looking hero there. He's got a nice looking girl in his arms right there.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of every guy's desire, right?
That's right. We'll be the hero. We'll save the beautiful woman from treachery. Yes.
All right. So we're doing this from Comic Book Plus. That means I'm gonna have to click on each page, But okay, so here they are, the thrilling group of magazines for every taste, for every member of the family. featuring the best novels and stories being written today by America's most popular authors. Ask for them at your newsstand, low in price, high in quality.
Mm.
You can't go wrong when you read the thrilling magazines, each one the best of its kind.
Oh
So,
my gosh. If only Marvel and DC will put an ad exactly like that and mean what they say. Have good quality product. They would sell probably more magazines
yeah,
today.
but think about this too, though. Really think about this too. We don't have we don't have the newsstands today.
No.
We don't even. If you think about it, I can tell you, here where I live here in California, we don't
Yeah.
even have the old newspaper, old kind of newspaper boxes where you
Yeah.
go up, you put in a quarter, and then pull the
Yeah.
door up, and you can grab a
I miss
newspaper.
those. I even miss those. We're just
Well,
a
yeah,
bunch of illiterate
part of it's because
Americans.
everybody can get everything online now.
Yeah, we're illiterate and we love video games. Yeah, we need to get back to reading, kids. It's important to read.
Yeah.
Have a book in front of your face every once in a while.
I
Hey,
mean, look at some of these titles here: Thrilling Wonder, Sky Fighters, and all these books and magazines and all that are like 10 cents. 10 cents each.
oh, look at those
Thrilling
treasuries.
Detective,
Yeah,
um,
those are fun.
Thrilling Western, Popular Love, Popular Western.
I want to read every one of them.
Yeah. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 9. Let's see,
Right,
12, 15,
10 cents
18,
each, right?
21, 21. Let's see, 24. 24 and 3 is 27,
Yeah,
30. So okay,
30.
so think about this for a moment and
That's
compare it
$3.
to, yeah, $3. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
30 bucks, 10 cents each, $3. That much reading,
Uh-huh.
that much reading material, you could basically read an entire magazine, one magazine a day for a full month for just $3.
That's
That's back in
great.
1940. It's like
1940. Where's my time
85
machine?
years ago.
I want to go
I
back in
mean,
time.
think about it now. Now what? Comics, comic magazine.
$3.99, $4.99, $5.99,
What would you say
$6.
the average? Would you say the average is maybe what, about $5?
I would say $4.99, $5. That's about right. They've
Five
gone up.
dollars. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know, 30 bucks at $5.
Mhm.
That's $150
That's a lot of money.
to get that much reading. Back
God.
in Now, granted, it was 1940, so even maybe $3 there could have been considered a bit of a price, but
Yeah, but
comparing that, going
yeah,
from $3 to $150 for
yeah.
30 books or 30 magazines or whatever.
And on top of that, you don't get as many pages like you did back in the day, back in 1940. You got less, but you got maybe 20 or 22 pages for each book today compared to what, 64 pages?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
mark them off at 64 pages.
right.
Yeah, here it says 60. Well, on this site they usually say 68, but I think they're also
Yeah,
including like the ad pages and all that in there.
cover, I guess. Sure. Anyway, let's get going there. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's good to talk about those little things too, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. So I guess I'll do the narration for this one, and you want to do Captain
Captain
Future,
Future,
and
yes.
then we'll figure out the other characters as we go along.
Yeah.
Captain Future. Dr. Andrew Bryan, studious young research worker, is summoned to the executive offices of the Pacific Electrical Corporation. The general manager wants to talk to you, Doc.
What? Oh, I'll be right up.
And look at him. Look,
It's a kid.
recognize the look.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Anyway,
Um, Well, there is a parallel. You should know the parallel.
I don't know. What?
Clark Kent.
A little bit.
In terms of the look. I'm
A
not
little
saying
bit.
in terms of
Just
like
a little
the
bit.
old glasses bit.
The surgical smock kind of threw me off.
Yeah. Bryant gets his notice.
You, oh, I guess the old man first. So you're the old man.
Huh.
The
Oh
green
wait,
suit guy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your experiments have proved costly. My job is to show profits. I think you were actually supposed to talk
Oh,
first.
was this supposed to talk? Okay. You mean I'm fired, Mr. Devlin?
I'm sorry. Your experiments have proved costly. My job is to show profits.
All of my work wasted, but I still have 2 weeks. I'll work night and day.
Andrew Bryant seeks to find and develop an ultra-secret wave for the transmission of radio and electrical impulses. Days speed by, but success still eludes him. He is almost
Discouraged.
discouraged. Then a brilliant idea seizes him.
I wonder if it's possible. I'm crossing the infrared band with the gamma ray. It's never been done.
So much like Bruce Banner, I guess he decides that he's gonna mess around with gamma rays. Huh?
Freak accident time. Here we go.
Yeah. The machinery goes into motion. The gamma and the infrared mingle for the first time. Then,
Whoa!
pow! Recovering consciousness, Bryant makes a strange discovery.
Crossing those rays did something to me. I feel as if I could lick the world. And look at my hands, charged with electrical powers.
Okay. So, slang study time here. Study time.
Yeah.
So we do have a bit. We do have a bit of a slang word in there, right? Can you identify what the slang word is and what it means in this particular context?
You talk about lick the world or what? What slang?
Well, lick, yeah, but lick the world by extension, yeah. That's exactly what I was going for. Now, what do you think he means by lick the world in this case?
Conquer the world?
Something to that extent, or go out and do whatever he can in the world, what have you,
Yeah. Do anything he wants to.
Yeah. Like anything's possible, right?
Right.
All right, so let's see. Let's continue on here. Suddenly, he hears voices from afar.
What if 1,000 people will die? We'll still get the dough, won't we? Devlin's voice. But that's impossible.
Oh, wait. I probably should have.
End of the plant.
I should have probably done that first one.
That's all right. Let's move on. Yeah.
All right. Seeking to investigate the ominous words, he goes toward Devlin's office and is discovered. Look, boss! Got a visitor. Grab him! Don't let him get away. The thugs leap at Bryant. To his own amazement, he battles with the strength of a lion.
Wow! Psh, I never knew I had it in me.
That guy's a Hercules. Gangsters reel before the blazing current, which streaks from his fingertips.
Shocking, eh, boys?
Ah! Caught off guard, he crashes through a window as a thrown chair connects.
Holy smoke! I'm done for.
He lands lightly as a feather, unhurt.
Great Scott! This new power of mine even defies gravity.
That night, Andrew Bryant ponders over his newly discovered prowess.
Heaven knows what other powers the gamma infrared combination's given me, and I'll use them. I'll help the underdog and war on crime. I'll begin by finding out Devlin's crooked game.
War on crime, quite a term that's used here in this time period, huh?
Yeah. Wasn't there a comic book title called War on Crime?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm just checking to see if. Oh, we have actually a few people coming in to say hi
Oh,
here.
good. Hello. Let's see.
Hey, Rex.
It's
Rex popping in.
Rex. Yes. Back Devil Flyer. A Devil's Weapon on Fund My Comic.
Pulp goodness.
Yes. Pulp business. Goodness. Here we go.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. All right. So now with that, now let's get back to the story. Next morning, an awesome figure lies in wait for Devlin. Andrew Bryant has disappeared. In his place has emerged Captain Future, the Dynamo of Doom. Captain Future, the Dynamo of Doom. Wow.
I love it. It's cool. There he is. If I succeed, I'll make the world a better place to live in. I shall call myself Captain Future because the man of tomorrow shall have the power I alone possess now.
Again, another phrase that was used a lot in this time period, the man of tomorrow.
Yeah. That's like Superman, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
I think there was another one who used it too, but anyways.
There he is. There's another one. That guy here.
Huh?
Captain Future.
Yep. As Devlin emerges and drives off in his car,
I'll trail him and see where he's bound for.
The trail leads to a restaurant where Captain Future's odd power picks up ominous news. While destroying the SS Havana and seize the 20 million gold shipment for our leader. Soon the knights of
the Purple Plague.
The Purple Plague shall rule the world.
Great Scott! That's the money the nation of Frivania is sending here for safekeeping.
Entering, he smashes the plotters to the floor.
Who's going to destroy the whole Vania? Where?
You must be mad. Get out of here. Or there'll be trouble. We don't know what you're talking about.
Won't talk, eh? We'll see.
Now look at here's something I'm taking notice of right away here, and I know Metal noticed this about some of the Euro too, and I think Rick has too. At least one of them has.
Yeah.
Now, aside from no glasses, there hasn't, at least at this point, from what we can tell from the art, there doesn't seem to be much of a cosmetic change between Andrew Bryant and Captain Future.
No, not really. Yeah. He's just changing the costume to like a short sleeve shirt and shorts, no glasses, And
you would think that because the guy in green there, that's Devlin, right?
that's the boss, right?
You would think he would but from the look, at least from what we've seen here so far, he doesn't recognize him.
No.
There's no real major cosmetic change here, aside
No.
from he doesn't have his
No.
glasses.
Nope. That's it.
Talk
Yeah.
about a leap in logic there, huh?
Oh, sure.
Captain Future's amazing power reveals the conspirators' thoughts.
Don't waste your time lying. I can read your mind. You're thinking about what the purple plague will do to you if you talk.
All right, I'll tell you. I just want to obviously check to see if there's any more. Nope. I was just checking to see if there's any more comments. You know how that is.
Right.
The police enter as Devlin suddenly falls to the floor. Here, what's the disturbance about?
Nothing, officer. This man, why, he's dead.
Uh-oh. Why do you think he's dead?
Don't know. The other, because he was going to reveal what's going on to Captain Future, and someone had to kill him off. So we'll talk. The other man must have shot him, officer. Some kind of ray gun to keep him from talking.
Oh yeah, tell it to the chief. Tell it to the chief.
Just got to go downtown.
At police headquarters.
I'm telling you, there's a plot against the Hulvania's gold shipment. You've got to do something.
Don't make me laugh. You must be a loon in that outfit. Anyway, I'm holding you for murder. In his cell, Captain Future's radio mind registers an SOS flash.
I'm getting an SOS from the Hulvania. It's on fire. I've got to get out of here.
Ripping away the bars like paper, he escapes.
This is as good as a passkey.
His great powers magnetizing him to the radio beam. He races through space with the speed of light.
Hope that radio beam holds out. It ought to bring me to the Hulvania any minute. There she is, just in time.
He lands on the burning ship just as the crew begins to remove the gold.
They're taking the gold off. Wonder how those crooks plan to get it.
Hurry up! We're sinking fast! Suddenly, a plane drops from the skies, spitting death. Spitting death. Now,
yeah,
you've read some of these stories before with me, right?
Sure.
Spitting death is a common phrase here.
Yeah.
Used at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think spitting death means?
Oh, it means shooting a gun. Shooting a machine gun from a plane, spitting death, spitting the bullets. Yeah. So that's it. The Knights of the Purple Plague don't miss a trick.
The thugs board the burning vessel. Let's get the swag. We ain't got much time.
After the gold, all right. And I've got to see that they get it before the ship sinks. I can always track them down.
Come on, she's gonna blow up any second. Ugh, this stuff weighs a ton. Captain Future lends a helping hand.
You'll never make it at that rate, boys. You need some help.
What What the? Who's that? At that moment, the ship explodes. That takes care of that freak, whoever he was. Let's go, boys. His mighty strength withstanding the shock of the explosion, Captain Future follows, attuned to the electrical impulses of the speeding plane.
Are these birds going to get a surprise?
The thugs see an amazing sight.
You boys seem to be in a hurry.
Wow, that Frankie's back.
I need a forwarding address for the stuff, boys. Where's it going?
Get him, use your guns. A magnetic field saved Captain Future from the gang's bullets. Look, the bullets drop away from him.
Sorry, I'm puncture proof. Now, can I play?
Oh boy. You think maybe their lower halves are starting to change color a little bit?
Yeah, a bit.
And smell a little bit too?
Maybe. All right.
Oh, hold on. Smashing blows scatter the bandits.
Not so tough, are you? Now, you and I can talk. Where are you taking this stuff? And who's your head man?
Captain Future alert radio mind senses danger. All right, I'll tell you.
You're playing a trick. What?
Too late. Clutching his parachute, the pilot leaps. Maybe that guy is a wizard, but I sure fooled him. Meanwhile, the pilotless plane hurtles toward the Earth.
He's jammed the controls. We're over land now. We're going to crash.
As the pilot floats downward, I'm lucky to get out of this alive. Suddenly, a husky figure plunges through space toward him. Huh? I'm seeing things.
I don't need this chute, but I want to make sure you don't get away. Ah, so you're wondering too.
What do you mean?
You're wondering what the purple plague is going to do now that the plane has crashed with the 20 millions in gold. No use lying. I could see into your mind.
Gosh, what sort of man are you?
Quiet. I'm getting another wave reception. Someone in your plane radioed for help before it crashed. I've got to protect that gold.
Lifting the plane in his powerful grasp, Captain Future hurtles through the skies, riding the ether waves.
Lucky that plane crashed near New York. I could save time getting back.
Lifting the pilot, I should have said, but anyway.
That's fine. Yeah.
He drops the pilot at the city jail. He seemed to drop out of the sky.
Who is this Captain Future anyway?
let's see, streaking through the air, he lands at the scene of the crime.
Shouldn't the police be here, Doctor?
Don't interfere. We can handle this. Captain Future's radio mind picks up an amazing thought flash. Meddling fool. If the police see what's inside the ambulance, we're cooked. Instantly, he springs to the attack.
So, you're one of the Purple Plague mob, eh?
Help! The doctors aid strike just as the police arrive. Here, what's going on? Arrest this man, officer. He deliberately attacked us. Well, if it ain't old troublemaker himself, flew the coop, did ya?
These men are imposters. Look in that ambulance if you don't believe me.
The police approach the ambulance. We might as well humor him. He's getting to be our best customer.
There's danger there. Look out!
The police are met by a hail of bullets as the fake ambulance speeds away.
I'll stop them.
Hey, where are you going? What?
I've got to keep that gold away from the Purple Plague.
Immune to the electrical shock, Captain Future fells the telephone pole into the path of the fleeing ambulance.
That ought to block their path. Now to take after him.
An electric storm short circuits his great power as he flies through space.
Something's happened. I'm falling.
Unconscious, he plummets to the earth. Look! It's that wild man. He's knocked out. Boy, will the boss be glad when we bring him in. Later, he regains consciousness, chained.
I remember. That electrical storm must have short-circuited me, I guess.
His power returns. In a great surge, he snaps his chains like straws.
So they think they can hold me with these trifles.
The radio mind brings a maniacal voice into the cell. We have the gold. Followers of the Purple Plague. We can now proceed with our plans for overthrowing the government.
That's their chief, the man I'm after.
Keen television brings the image of the speaker into the cell.
So that's what you look like, huh? Guess I'll pay you a little social call.
A mighty blow levels the massive door.
Here's where I bust up their little circle.
Captain Future bursts into the council room.
I want that gold, you murdering thief, before I tear this place apart.
Oh, my robot guard will take care of you. The purple plague throws a switch. Kill robots.
Kill!
Kill. Oh, you okay? Go ahead.
Kill! Kill!
As the robots advance, Captain Future turns his energies into blinding electrical impulses, which short circuit the middlemen.
So much for you, 10 stooges.
My,
Might, might as
sorry.
well call the junk man.
As the henchmen of the Purple Plague leap forward, he submits to capture. So you have lost your power again. Prepare to die. We got him.
Ugh.
Then Captain Future turns on the power. Mighty electrical bolts rip through the the astonished mobsters. Wow, playing a little possum there, isn't he?
Yeah. Now it's my turn.
Ew! Ew! Ugh! He cuts off the leader's escape.
And that settles you, Mr. Purple Plague.
Later, at police headquarters,
There's the gold, Captain. You can return it to the Finvanian embassy, and you've got that whole Purple Plague mob, too.
great work. Captain Future, I want to apologize.
Okay, officer. No hard feelings. Shake.
It's a privilege. Meow!
I could tell what you're thinking now, even if I could read your mind.
Follow Captain Future's War on the Underworld in the next issue. All right, so finish
Nice.
the first story there. Overall impression, and I'm gonna go off camera here for a quick moment. Well, hello Fitzjozo.
Miss Chozo, hello. Yeah.
I'm gonna go off camera. I'm still gonna be able to hear and talk to you, but I'm gonna be
Okay.
doing something that you don't need to be seeing.
Right.
But I will ask this as I've been doing of late. So we're through the first story here. Overall impressions of that story.
That's a good one. It's a heroic tale, a little origin story thrown in. He figures out crossing the infrared with the gamma rays gives him tremendous powers. Now for him to succeed as a hero, saving the gold from these terrible crooks.
Any more comments on how the story went? Like the overall, how the story went in terms of pacing, artwork, all that.
It paced very well. There's not really slow moments, nothing boring in between. It's all pretty much it's well told. Different characters, little hijinks here and there. I give it an A plus.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that towards the end of the when we get through the features we'll read tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like take care of this little issue here, hopefully.
Right.
I knew this is probably something you didn't necessarily need or want to see, but you probably have an idea of what I'm doing.
I don't even care what you're doing. You do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so ready to move on. So let's find the next story to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see now. Mysterious Dr. X. Let's see. That's really lovely.
Yeah.
I would, let's see. All right. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and I guess we'll read that one.
I'll I'll be
Um,
the I'll be the narrator.
all right, and then I guess we'll figure out as we go along
Yeah.
who the main character is. Maybe I'll be the Doctor X here.
Right.
Probably one of those cases where the bad guy is actually the featured character here.
Yeah, it's different. The mysterious Dr. X. In an observatory high in the Andes, Dr. X, master of the mysteries of occult science, undertakes the greatest experiment of his career. Under a hypnotic spell, he seeks to project the astral body of his niece Cynthia into planetary space.
I think it's project, not protect.
I said project, didn't I? Oh,
It sounded like you said protect.
project.
Yeah.
Never mind. Let's move on.
A numb drowsiness is creeping over you, Cynthia. You cannot resist my power. You must sleep deeply and do as I bid. Got a beautiful woman there, isn't she?
Very nice. Yeah.
You shall lie here unconscious while my power projects your astral body from far into space to explore the planet in us. A million light years from the earth shall you travel. This telegraph screen will follow her flight through space and disclose the secrets of the universe. 10 more seconds, and my gamma beam will reach the planet in us. All set. Here go. Gamma radiation again.
Yes. Very valuable tool.
Apparently, at least in the world of comics.
Mm-hmm. Dr. X throws the great switch. With the speed of thought, Cynthia's astral body shoots through the space toward the distant planet. Past stars and planets, she darts like a burning meteor.
There, the flash tells me she has reached in us.
A touch of another control, and Cynthia's image appears on the televisor screen. By amplifying a million times the weak thought waves generated by her brain.
Success! The thought image is perfect. Now to follow her while she explores the planet.
Mm. The screen carries Dr. X's voice to Cynthia in far off Innis.
Proceed into the jungle, Cynthia. I must see what type of animal life exists there.
Suddenly, stumbling into a clearing, Cynthia comes face to face with a Tyrannosaurus, a ferocious flesh eating monster. Help!
Good Lord!
Meanwhile, Bob Stone, Cynthia's fiance, has trailed Dr. X to the remote Andes observatory. I've found you at last, Doctor. Cynthia, where is she?
What's that? Are you here, Bob? I may need you. Look.
Huh? What is this, a movie?
It's not so simple, my boy. I'll explain.
Wait, that monster's got Cynthia.
I must work fast. Come here, quick.
Dr. X focuses his powerful gamma beam on the planet Ennis and projects Bob's detached body through space.
That does it. Bob's. Oh, wait. Oh, maybe I should have gone down first. I need your help to get her out of this. But first, I must hypnotize you.
Oh, okay, then you hypnotize. Okay.
Yeah. That does it. Bob's reached Ennis. I hope he's not too late. Yeah, sometimes some of these
Panels.
panels can be a little
Weird.
tricky.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that before too.
Mm.
All right, before
Bob.
don't start yet. Just let's see. All right, so I think right, then top or left, top right, bottom right. I think is go now.
Bob finds that he is helpless against a monster without a weapon when suddenly a horde of grotesque-looking men attack the dinosaur. They're taking Cynthia into the hills. What can I do to save her? Thinking Cynthia a fitting sacrifice to their gods, the Ennis men carry her to their castle high in the cliffs. I'll get her. They're
I'll get and follow them, Bob, but don't let them see you.
they're putting her on a sacrificial slab.
Any injury to her astral body will be fatal. I've got to get my instructions to her.
The high priest proceeds with the sacrificial ceremony. Sorry.
All right.
I think I
Oh,
read
no, I think it's
right.
Yeah.
Dragged toward the altar as the next victim, Bob wakes Cynthia from her hypnotic trance. Remember now. Oh, Uncle told me he was sending me into space. Concentrate your uncle's thought waves will instruct us. At that moment, Bob enters the castle and is captured.
Listen carefully, Cynthia, and you too, Bob. Oh boy.
Yeah. To the ears.
Hold on.
To the ears of the couple comes the voice of Dr. X, explaining that only their astral bodies are imprisoned by the will of their captors.
Go, leave the place at once.
He's right, Cynthia. Our own willpower is allowing us to escape, but let's get out of here fast. Spears and arrows whiz through them harmlessly as they flee, protected by their temporary dominance in willpower over their captors. Oh, Bob, it's like an awful nightmare, one from which we may never awake. We've got to get back to the spot where we landed on Ennis so that the gamma beam can pick us up. High above
but before we go on, you know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit?
What?
When they're talking about like the gamma beam?
Mm-hmm.
Adam Strange.
A little bit. Oh yeah, but
it does have kind of that basically being beamed to another planet.
Yeah, it has that similarity. High above the escaping couple, the Ennis men pry loose the huge rock. A landslide bears down on them. Cynthia's will weakens. She is swept down by the mighty avalanche. Cynthia, wake up! She's still breathing. There may be a chance.
Bob, listen carefully. Do exactly as I say. Carry Cynthia to the crest of the hill you see in the distance. and don't lose any time.
The
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Innis.
Well, hold on.
Okay, to go that way.
Well done, lad. Now stay there, and I'll try to pick you up with my gamma beam.
Hurry, Doctor! The Innis men are closing in on us. Bob, what happened? The Innis men attack, but suddenly a blinding beam of light comes out of space. Cynthia Bob disappear before the awestruck observers.
Wow, that must have been something for them to see, huh?
Yeah, great. Through billions of miles of space, the gamma beam speeds them and brings them safely to Dr. X's observatory. In the observatory, two silent forms stir and rise. Wow, what a dream! When did you get here, Bob? Thank goodness you're here. Dream, did you say?
No, Cynthia, it was no dream. Merely the greatest experiment in history.
But next month's experiment is even more amazing. Follow Dr. X and Starling Comics!
All right, so second story in, second feature in. Overall impressions, Apex.
It's just the right pacing. It's the right amount of pages, not as long as Captain Future, but just right.
You do know that the lead feature is always going to be the biggest. Usually, is the biggest amount of pages.
Yes, I
I
realize
think
that.
I think Captain Future was like a 12-page story. This one I
Yes,
think was maybe 7 or 8 pages. I think.
it's like 8 pages. Yeah, it's good enough. Gamma radiation grants wishes in Marvel. Yeah, it kind of does. Wish you're a big hulking green creature.
Hmm. So anything more? Oh, I forgot to come on the camera now. Oops.
No, nothing more than that. It seems like at first that Doctor X looks like a villain. The way he looks rather sinister looking.
Uh-huh.
Overall, he's just a good scientist trying to help his niece and her fiance.
Yeah, but he's like intentional. Yeah, he might he might actually be the hero after all. But
Yeah,
kind of a mad scientist aspect to it. Putting his
right,
own niece in danger like that. It's kind of
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
all right. So, anyways, let's get ready to move on. Let's see what other stories. Try to find something a little different. Let's see.
yeah.
Oh, there's G-Man Dalton right there. Let's see. Mystico, the Wonder Man.
Mm.
Scoop Hannigan, Ace Reporter.
Huh.
The Masked Rider. Here we go.
Yeah, I like that one.
The Masked Rider. So I guess my turn to be the narrator. Your turn to be the
Mask
main
Rider.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Masked Rider.
Mm.
All right. Bronk Randall. After 2 years of the rodeo circuit, is returning to his uncle's ranch.
Wonder whose waddies are. Wonder who those waddies are. Hmm.
Let's see.
Right.
Penning up his
It's
mount,
raining up.
reining up his mount. The leader of the band draws a bead on Bronk. Yeah, you got him, Bishop.
Yep.
Yep. Huh.
And the ranch too.
Creased by the bullet, Bronk recovers consciousness.
Those varmints nearly got me. Something's wrong here.
Riding to the ranch house, he finds his uncle dying. Don't let them get the ranch.
Lead. That wit they'll get, Uncle. That's what they'll get, Uncle. Lead.
The following morning, Bishop and his gang ride up with the sheriff. Hold your let's see. Oh, yeah,
Hold your lead.
yeah. I know. I'm just trying to see. Okay,
Yeah.
hold your lead, cowboy. And clear off my property. This here's a deed. The sheriff backs Bishop up. He's right, son. Your uncle signed over.
Bishop, you're going to pay for this.
Never mind, John. Get going. Right into the hills, Bronk vows to bring Bishop to justice.
Them varmints ain't going to know who they're fighting, but they'll get what's coming to them.
The following morning, Bronk takes up a mission as a masked rider.
They're chasing that gal. Maybe I ought to see what's up.
Tearing down the slope, the masked rider ropes the leading pursuer.
You're shooting kind of careless, pard.
The other rider draws and has his sixth gun from his grasp and
Shot from his grasp.
a shot from his grasp.
Maybe you hombres ought not be toting guns.
The girl he aided helps the masked rider to bind his captors.
I'm Helen Carter. These men tried to stop me from getting the sheriff. Their gang's shooting up our cattle. Let's get back, miss, and see what I could do.
The masked rider suspects Bishop of another act of terrorism. You notice how they describe it here in 1940, terrorism.
Yeah.
Kind of parallel to today, huh?
Kind of does. They tried to buy our property about a week ago. Dad refused to sell. Now they're wiping us out. That polecat Bishop ain't getting away with this one.
Meanwhile, back at the Carter Ranch, I'll have the law on you for this, Bishop. You don't know it, Carter, but I'm doing the law a favor. Bishop's lookout reports 4 riders approaching. Maybe the gal got through. Take Carter back to the house and get ready for action. Okay, boss. Cantering into the seemingly deserted rancher. Cantering. Wonder what that could mean.
I don't know.
By context, I guess maybe gathering, I guess.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Not really a word that I've heard too often. How about you?
No.
At least in this context.
No.
A masked rider and Helen meet with an ambush. Get him up, cowboy.
Take it easy, stranger. I'm working with you.
Thinking quickly, the masked rider delivers Helen to the marauder.
You wanted the gal, didn't you? Well, here she is. But
Carter's cattle has the hoof and mouth disease. We stockmen was just protecting our own herds. At that moment, Bishop sees his 2 captive henchmen. Hey, boss, look here. What the? It's Pete and Smoke. Only action can save the masked rider now. He vaults from his saddle.
Here's yours.
Bishop and his gang find 2 6-guns, a mighty persuasive argument.
Take your choice, boys. Draw 'em or raise 'em.
And it looked like they raised them, huh?
Yeah.
Disarmed, the cowardly bishop contents himself with threats.
Hit the trail, you buzzards.
You're thinking pin now, cowboy. But next time I'll be different. Accompanied by Tim Carter, the masked rider examines the dead cattle. I don't know why you're wearing that mask, stranger. But thanks anyhow.
Bishop was right. Your whole herd's infected.
Unable to auction his remaining stock, the rancher faces ruin. We'll never meet the mortgage. We're sunk, Helen.
I'm taking a look around. Don't give up yet.
As he gallops toward a neighboring ranch, the masked rider thinks things over.
Pretty strange to have Bishop bothering about Carter's livestock. I wonder.
Well, what do you wonder?
I'm not sure. Let's read on and find out.
You don't want to even speculate, huh? You
No,
want to do a little speculation at least?
not really. No.
Hmm.
I better.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
He is met by a hail of bullets.
I better be moving.
A flying leap brings the masked rider to the porch roof.
I aim to see who's potting at me.
Stealing downstairs, the masked rider gets the drop on his assailant.
Here I am, partner. Turn around slow.
The masked rider recognizes Shorthorn Jones, an old friend of his uncle's. Oh, all right, cowboy. You win. You can inoculate my herd.
Guess we're both mistaken, Shorthorn. What's up?
Shorthorn takes the mysterious stranger to his corral. These hombres told me my stock is diseased. Got pretty threatening about it, too.
Shorthorn, I'm going to take your herd to auction right now, if you'll trust me.
While the masked rider heads towards
Paiute
Springs with Shorthorn's cattle. I ain't gonna argue with old man Jones. This time he's gonna sign over just like Randall did. With a little coaxing, hey, Bishop? Bishop and his gang confront the old stock raiser. Don't stall, Pop. Where's the cattle? You're a little late, Bishop. The masked rider is on his way to auction with him. A new scheme causes Bishop to change his tactics.
If this place was mine, the masked rider would be rustling them steers. I gotta work fast.
Shorthorn accepts an amazing offer.
Look, Shorthorn, let's be pals. Suppose you sell me lock, stock, and barrel for $2,000.
Give me the money, Bishop, and you'll get a deed. Oh boy.
Oh,
Bishop explains to his baffled henchman, I ain't as I'm sorry.
I
What's
ain't
that?
as local as you think, Joe. Ride back and take care of the old Gus. The rest of us will get the sheriff after the masked rider.
Guiding Shorthorn's herd across the range, a masked rider is overtaken by darkness.
Get along with you, critters. I'd better put 'em up in Carter's corral for the night.
He finds the rancher concerned over Helen's absence.
Mind if I use your corral for Shorthorn's cattle, Tim?
Nope, I say. You didn't see Helen over there at Shorthorns, did you? Galloping back to the old cattleman's ranch, the masked rider finds he is just in time.
The varmint's got Helen and Shorthorn covered.
Forgot, gotta click it, not die down.
Yeah.
Crashing through the window, the masked rider slugs Bishop's henchman.
Figuring on gunplay, huh?
Hauled to his feet, the cringing accomplice confesses.
Tough fast, you skulking coyote.
Bishop sent me back to shoot Longhorn and get back the money. They're fixing to blame you. Unaware that his scheduled miscarriage that his scheme has miscarried, Bishop goes to the sheriff.
This masked rider's not only rustling my cattle, Sheriff, but he's just shot Shorthorn. We got a gun for him.
I'm the law in Paiute Springs, Bishop. I gotta see the cowpas delicately. Deliberately crossing the posse's path, the masked rider lures them back to Shorthorns.
There he goes, Sheriff. Get after him, boys.
Pacing to the ranch, the masked rider joins Helen and Shorthorn on the roof of the granary.
Yeah. It's a trick. He's waiting in there to shoot us down.
As Bishop's men fire the house, the masked rider pounces on him.
You're right, Bishop. A little hink will bring him out. Oof.
While Shorthorn holds the others at bay, the masked rider forces Bishop to talk.
I can't I can't count beyond 3, Bishop. 1, 2. Wait, I'll talk. We did away with old man Randall. The entire region has oil deposits.
With his uncle's murder avenged, the masked rider accompanies Helen back to her father's ranch.
Those cattle I brought to your ranch make up for the ones Bishop shot and the ones he inoculated with hoof and mouth disease. We'll never forget you.
Watch for the masked rider exploits in the next issue. All right, so overall impressions of that story.
It's like watching a a short movie serial episode from like the 30s or 1940. There you go.
Well, I mean, we are in the 30s and 40s of comics, right?
Yeah.
So many things kind of parallel each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I'm in weekday afternoons. I've been like watching like classic cartoons, classic cartoon shorts. I've
Yeah.
been watching. Right now I'm working. I'm right now working my way through cartoons that came out in March of 1938. So,
Oh, yeah. Nice. Wow.
some interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Anything on the art on that
It's
aspect?
nice basic art, enough speed and detail to get through it and turning in on time for deadline for them to print the published tale. It's about right.
Yeah. All right. Just take care of something here. All right. Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. So we're at like 121 now. So
Yeah.
see what we do. Maybe let's see. So this is page. What page is this on now? Page 48. So maybe that might be one or two more stories we can get
We'll
through
do
here.
one more. Yeah.
Let's see. Look, 25 cents in cash prizes free. Now here's another thing about comics back then. You can get prizes. You notice that?
They mean $25 cash prizes.
Yeah, I mean that was big money back then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Startling Comics Cash Contest. Nothing to buy, nothing to sell. Here's how to win. Our prizes and have fun at the same time. Just write your answers to these 5 puzzles. The coupon provided in the on the next page. Send this coupon to us together with the short letter described in problem 6. Prizes: first prize $5, second prize $3, third prize $2, and 15 special prizes of $1 each. Let's see.
Nice.
This is fun and easy too. So you got to connect the dots picture there. Lost. The poor hunter has lost something, but he is looking in the wrong place. It is directly above him. To find what he has lost, draw connecting lines from dot number 1 to 2 to 3, etc., and on in order until you reach number 49. What is it? Number 2. Let's see. 224 ounces, 14 pounds, 171 pounds. 1/10 of a ton. Bosco. World's strongest boy can lift 3 big weights at one time. Marked on them are what each one weighs. How many pounds can Bosco lift? Now here's an interesting little math puzzle for you.
They don't have
You see
that.
that?
They need to bring that back into comics. They're gonna
A lot of this. I mean, you think about it with what you're just talking about with the idea of literacy and all that, and education, and all that.
right.
Instead of focusing so much on all these stupid little yes, socialization is important in terms of how you interact with each other,
Yeah,
but not at the expense of learning your 3 basic R's.
that's right. Need to get back to learning again, kids.
Yeah.
Tell your woke teachers we want real teachers in our schools, not your woke dumb policies. So tell that to your senator or congressman. There you go.
3 mysterious letters. You see them every day, but do you know what they mean? For instance, can you tell exactly what the following initials stand for? NBC, RFD, AJ Smith, MD.
NBC
COD.
stands for National Broadcasting Corporation.
MD, of course, medical doctor, I believe. COD is cash on delivery.
Yeah, RFD, Royal. I don't know. RFD. I'm not sure what that is.
It probably could have a number of meanings. We obviously don't,
Right.
because the FD part could be fire department, right?
Oh.
But like Mayberry RFD or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
RFD could be like maybe regional fire department or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I guess it continued on the next page. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to think about the comics back in these days, right? Back in the 40s.
Yeah.
Now I haven't picked up highlights in quite some time, but they do remind me of the highlights that I would, I'd read at some of the doctor's offices when I was growing up.
Right.
Huda,
Denati.
Denimi, Denami,
That sounds like spell casting.
yeah.
We should avoid it like a Ouija board. Avoid that stuff.
Danny, our office boy, tried to type a list of states, but they came out all jumbled. And you unscramble them. Well, let's see. There's Utah, Ohio,
Nevada.
Indiana,
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Yeah. Nevada's last one.
Nevada, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know I was trying to think. Okay, what states have these?
Yeah.
6. Name your favorite startling comics character. Oh wait, actually, I guess there are five here. 5 over the eraser. Mrs. Jones is all set to go shopping for some brand new footwear. She has 3 kinds in mind. As pictured above, can you name them? Footwear.
I don't know. I don't really care.
A racer, horse, and a water. So, I guess steel-toed, rubber, horsehide. I guess.
That'd be
Okay,
sufficient.
now number 6. Name your favorite startling comics character. Write a letter of 50 words or less. Oh, here, an essay bit.
I actually have to work on that. Ooh, that's a job for the kids to do.
Yeah. Write a letter of 50 words or less telling us which character in startling comics you like best and why. Also, list the remaining characters in the order in which you like. Now, this is something that you would really love to see, comic book companies, artists,
education,
really educating kids, not trying to push a lot of this woke BS that we're seeing push. Not pulling a Mark Hamill or Gail Simone or anything like that. But this right here, this stuff is cool. Writing 50 words or less, learning how to write, learning how to use written communication to get your point.
Yes, by hand. Yes, by hand. Write it by hand. Don't have to use a computer. Just write it down on a piece of paper. Write your answers the old way.
Right. Yes. Now, fill in the coupon below and mail along with your letter no later than July 10th. Hint, neatness counts.
Sure does.
And do you know why neatness counts?
So you can read it. So it'll be legible. Right. You want to read it.
Contest editor, Startling Comics, 22 West 48th Street, New York City, New York. Name, address, city and state. Don't forget to enclose your letter. Right answers here. So the answers to the first 5 questions. These contests will appear every month in Startling. I mean, that can also be fun to like with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
That can make learning fun right there.
Activity page. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Let's see. So where are we at on time here? Let's see.
So almost 9, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hour 30 here. We'll just kind of we won't even read the. We'll just kind of breeze through, and then because remember I've still got to do there's still one
Yeah.
more thing, with from the reading side of it. A couple questions I got to ask because it looks like we did get through 3
Yeah,
features right here.
that's good enough.
So
Yeah.
yeah, good enough. 3 for depending Bobby and the Lions.
Oh,
So there were actually a couple more there.
yeah.
Bob and Bino.
Hmm.
Make your own records at home. Oh, there's another fun thing to try.
Oh, great.
I won't read the whole thing there. Obviously,
Yeah, this is a scam.
all right. All right. Actually, I gotta step away from the computer for a moment.
All right.
But if but while I'm gone, you
Mm-hmm.
want to maybe talk to the chat for a moment? Maybe
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and
maybe
do.
promote some things. You get
Go
the
ahead.
stick. Right?
Yeah. All right.
I'll be right back.
Sure. Yes. So back FemBat Volume 1 today on Fun My Comic. It's only a limited amount of copies. I'll be printing out 50 copies for each variant cover and main cover. So there's 4 covers available and 50 copies each. So that makes it what, 200 copies for each for the entire book. It's worth getting for the price of $25. You get 56 pages of full action, black and white, good story, intrigue, a little bit of horror and humor. So if you would check out Fund My Comic Fembat Volume 1. And of course, Starling Comics, nice emblazoned detailed lettering. Makes you want to pick up from the newsstands and read. And yes, kids, let's get back into reading again. Not play as many of these video games at home. Nothing that'll distract you more than that. You have to get to a nice book in front of your face. It's better than reading on a computer screen. Plus, the page or real pages in front of you, much more healthier for your eyes. You don't have to worry about that blue light hitting your face when you're reading on the screen. So yeah, get back to reading, kids. Buy some comics. Ask your folks if they can buy you a couple of comic books or a magazine, whichever you prefer. Let's get back to reading. Very important. Learn to think for yourself, too. That's where you come into school and learn some things. Yeah, that's why I say. Yeah, these pages, man, there's like a lot of pages. 64 pages for 10 cents. What a deal. Starling Comics. There's like a few Captain Future tales. They haven't really made many of this character, but it's very interesting. Makes me want to go into a time machine and go back to 1940 and go to each of these spinner racks and buy every one of these books. Come back to my time machine and put these comics in a nice safe place. That would be fun.
Yes, it would. I mean, one of the things usually if when I sometimes if I were to read these like on my own, like particularly with the DCU, right, with the DC
Right.
comic
Yeah.
stuff, I like to try to imagine like being there, being in the world
Sure.
of those comics.
Yeah.
You know? So, anyways, we did get through 3 features tonight.
Right.
Actually, an hour and a half. I usually try to push it to 2 hours, so
Yeah.
we could theoretically try to, I guess, go, but um, I guess we can just we can talk a bit and fill out the time that way. So,
Mhm.
but first off, I need to figure out what I'm trying to do here. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. All right, so we did read through 3 features tonight. Um, Captain Future, Doctor X, and the Masked Rider. So
Yeah.
out of the three,
Mhm.
which one which one did you like the best or made the best impression on you, and why?
Oh, I think Captain Future. He's a doctor struggling to get the right uh, chemicals in place for his experiments, and he practically got fired from his job, and still he has this tenacity and uh, and forethought and focus to actually get his experiments done. He wants to succeed in this. He finally did, mixing in with infrared rays and gamma rays. He acquires these wonderful powers, and he rights the wrongs of injustice and brings the bad guys to jail.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. And as and now that I've asked the one that you like the best or the one that made the best impression,
Mm.
the 2 remaining, which one did you like the least or made the least impression on you, and why?
Well, I don't really have any comic that really had a least impression. That at the cross between Doctor X and a Masked Rider, they're two different tales. They both express different storylines. You
Mhm.
have Doctor X as a he seems to be an antagonist at first. You don't know what he's about until you read through, and he's not really a bad guy at all. And then you
Mhm.
got the Masked Rider. This character here, he gets ripped off from his property. The deed was signed by his competitor. He didn't know what to do. He's trying to have the law go after him. That didn't work out. So he has to find ways to take the law into his own hands by wearing a mask and right the wrongs of injustice. So I thought it was a bit different. So I really don't really have a weak story besides, you know, of course, Captain Future being, in my opinion, the best one out of all three.
Mhm. But you would say that you at least think that the other 2 that we read were equally, maybe they weren't quite as good as Captain Future, but they were still pretty good.
They were.
You weren't let.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I do think in at least in the Captain Future one, we did talk a little bit about of what every time I have something out, we do talk a little bit about, which we see a lot of this sometimes, these leaps in logics that we see, right? Because
Yeah.
we talked about how not much really changed in his appearance, and yet Devlin, I'm talking about the Captain Future story, of course,
Right.
where not really much really changed, nothing cosmetic or anything, just took off his glasses, and yet his
Hmm.
former boss didn't seem to recognize him.
No, not really. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny because particularly with what like I've talked a lot about this with Metal when he's been on, and even Rick and I talked a little bit about it too. Is some of these leaps in logic, particularly when it comes to certain scientific aspects of things.
Right.
You obviously knew that these writers did not have a big grasp of scientific theory
No,
because there were
it's
things they were kind of just throwing up against the wall. I mean, you could
hmm
argue that a lot of the stuff that they were writing was true science fictions, like you know, so that's but just like these leaps in logic that we see here. All right, so another kind of question about the comics industry, at least back in this time period.
hmm
Overall, this is something I've been starting to ask too, because you've been doing this with me for a while now,
right.
right? You've been doing this, just like RJ and Rick, and
Yeah.
I'm been starting to ask this question a little bit more as well. From the time that you started as one of my co-hosts, reading these stories, right?
Right.
Reading these old comic stories.
Mm-hmm.
To now, what have you noticed about, you know, the comics in general in terms of the storytelling, the art? Do you think it's progressed? Do you think it's regressed? Do you think, do you have any thoughts as to how maybe companies like, let's say, DC and Marvel and Archie are with us still today, and yet companies maybe like um, Centaur or Hillman or Novelty are not? Do you have any,
Well,
so
I think those stories are probably a lot better than current Marvel and DC, because current Marvel and DC, and and not just my opinion, but other people's opinions, they pretty much have regressed into propaganda,
hmm,
uh, into to give the writers are putting themselves in the characters, which I don't
right.
want to know about that. I want the character that's different. I want a character that's for the story and not having a writer place themselves in the character. That's the
Hmm,
problem with what's
yeah.
going on. Then that should not be written like that. I'm
Yeah, I
hoping.
mean,
I don't know if
yeah,
these
I know the
guys.
comparison to back
Yeah,
then to now. That
yeah,
I mean, that's part of the reason why I started doing this show, because
yeah.
I know a lot of, particularly some of us older folks, right?
Hmm.
We're not too happy with what the current, mainstream scene is doing.
No,
And I know like you and Rex and Doc and many of the others, you've
right.
gone down one path by just starting to do more indie comics.
That's right.
But an alternate path is looking back to what got us all into comics in the first place, right? You
Yeah,
know, so
entertainment.
right.
It's
And what I'm trying to get at is how, from the time you started as my co-host, from the time you started reading these older comics with me
yeah.
to now, what have you noticed about whether you would consider it progression or regression in terms of how how things have developed from the time you started reading to now? you know um have do you think they've been progressing, or do you think they've been regressing?
I think they're all different stories. I think a lot of times they are progressing. They're kind of getting more to in that time period of how they're living, what's going on in 1940, and they're kind of you know telling tales in that era, but
Mhm.
what they think of the future might be, and from 1940. That's
Oh yeah,
interesting.
oh
That
yeah. Now,
you know,
yeah, you bring up a good point there, because one of the features that I discovered in doing this, that's actually kind of one of my favorites,
yeah,
because of what they thought the future was,
yeah.
is Prize Comics Power Nelson. I don't know if you've read that one with me before, but that was the one. So Power Nelson is the lead feature in Prize
Mhm.
Comics, right?
Yeah.
So in their world, in Power Nelson's world, it's 1982.
Oh,
We
yeah.
haven't been through two world wars, but we've been through three of them. The
Mm.
Mongolians have taken over the world,
Oh,
and Power Nelson has, and when you look at the story and you look at what they thought 42 years from their time, because, obviously Price
mhm.
got here in 1940, and then looking ahead to what they thought 40 years, it's almost like they kind of thought we'd be like the Jetsons, basically, at that time.
Afraid
Just,
not.
you know, yeah. In 19, they thought that we'd be having like flying cars and sky high apartments and all that in
We can never
1982.
have flying cars. Do you know why?
Why?
Because, well, when you have cars on land, you have drunk drivers. Imagine a drunk driver having a flying car. They'll be flying
Oh
into
boy.
buildings. The transmission will fall out of the car and land on people. It would just be catastrophic. That's why we can't have flying cars. That's my theory.
Well, the Jetsons seem to make it work, right?
Well, they're more responsible, fortunately.
Yeah, but basically, but that was kind of the key thing how you talked about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so um but it is kind of when you take a look back to what a lot of these, writers and artists from 1940 and
Hmm.
you saw how they, now let me ask you this too, because we are getting kind of into the idea of how artists would show how they view the world in the stories they write.
Hmm.
So, how would you compare how they did it in, let's say, the golden, like 1930, late 30s, early 40s,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And how they're doing it now?
Mm.
Well, how,
Well, I'd say the stories are back in the 40s were just new. They're coming up with ideas that would entertain the reader. In a way, uh, nowadays when people write the stories, they tend maybe to look back at some of these stories that was done before, maybe have a different twist on a story that may have been previously published in the 40s or 50s, and a lot of times may have their own take on it, come up with something entirely new from there. So a lot of the stories had been done a lot of times, and writers would read some of these, put a different twist on some of them, change the title, what have you, or just come up with a completely different take on some of these stories. A lot of times, I don't think there's really much original stories out there because a lot of them have been done already. There's thousands and thousands of stories written, science fiction, superhero, whatever genre. They've been done
well, yeah,
so many times.
I
You
think
know,
one of the things about what writers try to do today,
mm,
in that vein that you're going towards, um, is that they try to modernize it, right?
that too.
They have a lot of the same basic elements of the character, but they try to put like a modern spin on it because
Yeah,
like now some people would argue, particularly when we got into the 40s and we got into World War II, right?
yeah,
And when they were writing comics,
yeah,
people would argue that maybe some of what they were doing there, even before America got into World War II,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because and we've talked about this on the show before too, um, where there were a lot of Jewish Americans who were getting into comics, right?
yeah,
And so they were kind of putting their spin on some of the putting some of the spin on all right, I just got a reply from RJ finally, um
good.
but I think he's basically saying he's going to be at his parents. So, but anyways, um, but as I was saying though, you did have a lot of Jewish writers back then, in comics back
Yeah,
then, and they were trying to get America to get into the war to defend the Jewish people from from Hitler.
yeah,
You
from
know,
tyranny. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Um, some people would argue that a lot some people would argue that some of the comics from the 40s in particular, from around World War II and just prior, could be considered propaganda for the time.
Right.
And we've talked about how nowadays, um, a lot of what the writers write
Hmm.
is propaganda. Is it really a case of history repeating itself, or do you think there is a difference between what they did in the 40s
Hmm.
and what they did now and how they approached it?
Well, it's different propaganda because a lot of times they're promoting, you know, communism but that's disguised as progressivism.
Mhm.
And
You're talking
you know,
about today's author.
today, yeah, exactly. And a lot of they turn characters gay and all this nonsense, and it's atrocious. It's not really entertainment. It's just a bunch of writers expressing their own stupid political opinions, and I don't really care for that. That's why a lot of people are going away from the mainstream comics.
Right
It's gotten
now,
that bad. It's the characters been changed for no reason
right.
because they can't. The current writers are in this sort of woke
So,
state of mind. They're not creative enough. They can't they can't come up with anything interesting or different, and it detracts the reader, and they don't want to read this crap anymore.
hmm,
That's why a lot of people back issues are really gone up in value, because a lot of
mhm,
people are sorting out those wonderful books that were done yesteryear,
mhm,
and people are discovering them for the first time. Even these reprint volumes, because a lot of times you can't afford a lot of these books because they've gone up, thousands of dollars. And I'm glad a lot of these comics are being reprinted in like large hardback volumes, which is really cool.
in that same vein,
Hmm.
in that same vein, um, do you think what I'm doing here with these historical comic
Hmm.
perspectives is a good thing? Maybe
It
by
is a good
trying to
thing.
huh?
Of course, it's a good thing, or else you wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
It's serving
Well,
a
it's fun.
purpose.
It's
Yeah,
fun, as you know. I call it
yeah,
I call it one part comic book review, one part
uh-huh.
dramatic reading. You know,
Right.
yeah. The idea is to get a lot of this information out there to people.
That's right.
Show them, hey, there are options, even if you have to go to the past. A
That's
little
right.
bit. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
So um, let's see. So then you would argue, the point you would make.
Hmm.
Would you say that? Could you say that possibly the motivation for doing comics
Hmm.
amongst the writers and artists of the 40s is maybe different than that of current day artists and writers?
I would say yeah, because they're just they come up with these concepts. They're either influenced by movies or the imagination, or a lot of the pulp stories, for example, just
Mm-hmm.
anything that would drive their imagination, that would inspire them to tell a story that's fantastic from what's in their reality that they're
Yeah.
experiencing now. And so a lot of times, the current writers, they write what's may have been historical, maybe something based on a true story, or just something that comes from the top of their head. And yeah, a lot of times the current big two companies, we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're spitting out a lot of their propaganda, like I said before, and that's not entertainment. That's just spitting out a bunch of propaganda that's meaningless. People don't like it. They're putting themselves into the character and changing things up, and that's even worse. So I think, yeah, stories of a lot of times the stories of yesterday's comics, like in the 40s, they're just covering some ground that's never been told before. A lot of the stories are just brand new and fresh to the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
Well, let's
right.
get on to your little thing that you have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
prepare.
I
What,
was, I
what
was
I got to
just
do?
about. I was looking. We're coming up on. We're at 1 hour
Yeah.
53. Yeah, I was just
Yep.
about to wrap that up. But the last thing I want to say on that before I do move on to this day in each history
Mhm.
is, did you like that discussion we just had?
That's fine. That's good. Yeah.
I think those kind of discussions, that I like bringing those discussions up, kind of get people thinking and
Yeah.
all that. All right. So with that being said, first up, before I even get to that, there's one more thing we got to do here. The show's though kind of. So I'm back. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
welcome
back.
back. A lot of modern comics. What if X character wasn't so moral? That's an interesting point.
Mm.
Um, Actually, I know Avi Green from Bleeding Full has pointed that out too,
Yeah.
in some of his articles. Remember what I previously said in the chat, the message before this one? What the
I
a
might
lot
have
of
counsel if X character wasn't so moral.
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh. All right. So anyway, so today is Sunday, Sunday, June 15th, 2025.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look back at this weekend in Nietzsche history.
Mhm.
History! So, first off, we're going to head back 20 years ago yesterday, back to June 14th, 2005.
Yeah.
On June 14th, 2005, um, produced by Disney Toon Studios, Tarzan 2 premiered in movie theaters on yesterday's date 20 years ago. Well, actually didn't premiere. I'm sorry. Actually, it wasn't a movie theater release. It was a direct-to-video. So Tarzan 2, also known as Tarzan Number 2, or Tarzan 2, The Legend Begins, is a 2005 American animated direct-to-video adventure comedy film, and the third Disney's Tarzan film after Tarzan and Jane, though it chronologically takes place during the events of the original film, set during Tarzan's childhood, years before he met Jane. It was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and Disney Toon Studios, with animation outsourced to Toon City Animation and distributed. So part of the Tarzan series of that time period, of course.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago yesterday, Tarzan 2 was released direct to video.
Nice.
And also on yesterday's date, as soon as I, of course, clear this out here. Let me see now. So now just going back 8 years ago yesterday, back to 2017. 8 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
So 8 years ago yesterday, the 20th issue of Back to the Future from IDW went on sale on newsstand on yesterday's date, 8 years ago. Sold for $3.99, was 28 pages.
Oh.
So Back to the Future issue number 20 from IDW went on sale on yesterday's date 8 years ago. Sold for $3.99, was 28 pages.
Nice.
Now heading back 40 years ago today. 40 years ago today. On this date, 40 years ago today, June 15th, 1985, in Japan, the OVA film, Studio Pierrot releases the OVA film, the original video animation film, Long Goodbye, Maho no Tenshi Krimi Mani versus Maho no Princess Minky Momo Genkijo no Daikesan OVA film from studio produced by Studio Pero was released on this date 40 years ago today, back in 1985.
Mm.
And moving ahead to the year 2015. Moving ahead to the year 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I believe this is the day after the I believe the day after, I think it's the Backlash event. There was a pay-per-view the previous day, but on this date 10 years ago, 10 years ago today in 2015, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh.
The event did see in the main event the primetime players of Titus O'Neil and Darren Young teaming with Neville to defeat the New Day of Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. The Bella Twins defeated Paige in a handicap match. Miz defeated Big Show by a countout in a no-holds-barred match. Kane defeated Randy Orton. And the show started off with Dean Ambrose defeating Sheamus. So with all that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Before we do leave, I'm going to give, and I'll go back up so I can also highlight your link.
Yeah.
But would you like to do any closing promotion announcements? You get the shit. Right?
Yes, Rex Hex and Apex show will be on Quantum Age Comics channel this Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. noon, or 9 a.m. Pacific. Quantum Age channel is owned by Hex Allen. He's the Hex in the group. So he's having, I forgot who he's inviting on to the show, but yeah, find out this Saturday, 11 a.m. Central on Quantum Age Comics on the YouTube. It'll be a fun show.
All right. Did you want to give any last pitches on your
Yes, buy Fembat Volume 1 on Fund My Comic. You'll be glad you did.
All right, and
Thank
if you can stick around after the show, because and it obviously talked to you about scheduling and all that.
Right.
With that being said, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here tomorrow night with more Niche News. Of course, next week I'll be joined by Metal as we will be finishing up May of 1940. May of 1940. We'll be doing Street and Smith, I believe, along with some United features. So that's likely meaning we'll probably get into Shadow Comics. The Shadow knows. With all that being said, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.